Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning with Jelly. So, today is the first lesson in Module 3. So far, Module 1 had an introduction to tools as well as a description of what exactly is data analytics. Module 2 introduced you to Python variables and Python data types. And now in Module 3, we're going to dive into how we can actually iterate or cycle through data as well as collections such as lists and or dictionaries. So our first lesson today is an introduction to for loops, as you can see from the image on my screen. And pretty much for loops is going to have this basic syntax. You're going to have an item in some type of collection. And for every item in this collection, you want to do a statement. So maybe that is add two to the item, multiply the item, make the item lowercase, whatever it may be. And once you get to the last element in the collection, you're going to exit out of the loop. So for loops are also called definite loops, but we are going to talk about that today. So the agenda for today is to find a for loop and discuss why for loops are used in data roles, understand the basic syntax, and then create a simple for loop. So for loops. So for loops allow us to iterate over a sequence or collection. And in module 2, you heard that strings are considered collections because they can be broken down into smaller parts. So if I have a string called data science, I can break that word down into letters. We have lists, which are enclosed by square brackets. We have dictionaries, etc. And for loops are used to apply a certain type of method or statement to each item within a collection. It is used in creating functions or to help debug code, such as unit testing and assert errors, and it's great for reducing code redundancy. So if you know that you have to do the same thing over and over and over again, for loops can help reduce that redundancy. So the basic syntax is for item in iterable. An iterable is considered any collection or sequence, such as a string, list, dictionary. So for every item in this collection, do something. An indentation of for loops matters. Python is very finicky. So capitalization matters, space matters, indentation matters, things of that nature. So, simple for loop. So, here is our iterable, which is our collection, which is the nums is set equal to a list 1, 2, 3. And we want to add 2 to each number. So, how can we do this in a for loop? So, in this case, we say for num, which is going to be every number in this list, in nums, which is the name of our list, print that item plus 2. Okay, so I'm going to run this cell of code so that Python understands nums and then the for loop. And here you see 1 had 2 added to it to make it 3, 2 had 2 added to it to make it 4, and so forth and so forth. So this is an example of a very simple for loop. I want to go through my collection, which is called nums. And for every item in that collection, I want to print out. So that is our simple for loop. So let's look at another example. So it wants us to create a for loop that squares each number in the list below. And this list is the object called digit. So we're going to use that same syntax for item, which in this case, I'm going to say X in the collection above, which is digits. We are going to print out the square of every item. So X asterisk square. The double asterisk means exponentiation in Python. So now we get the square of every item in this list. Okay. All right. So we also can do it with strings. So here is our sequence. The name is set equal to jelly. And for every letter in name, we want to lowercase it. So you can see that I have some capitals here as well as some lowercase. So when I execute this for loop, it gives me back everything that is lowercase. So these are a few simple examples. Definitely practice for loops. You have access to this notebook on GitHub, and the link to the GitHub is in the description below. So, in summary, for loops allow you to iterate through data. The basic syntax is for item in collection or in iterable, and it's great for reducing code redundancy. We're going to dive further into for loops in the next lesson, but that is all for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in lesson 2. Bye bye.